Welcome in to the Best Bell Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Bradley Stalder. You can follow me on Twitter at FFStalder. And this is episode 20, where I am joined by Adam Krautwurst of the Deep End Podcast and also contributor at Draft Sharks, big FFPC drafter. And tonight we're going to be doing just that, draft the FFPC Bestball tournament. Adam, this is great having you on. Thanks for making it for the show. Looking forward to the draft tonight.
Bradley, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I love this best ball tournament. And I apologize for calling you Brad Stadler for the last year and a half. I think Shope and I just figured out live on stream a month ago that it was Stalder or not Stadler. So I apologize for that.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's perhaps one of the most problematic names that I didn't think would be such an issue. When I was growing up, everyone called me Stalder. And so it wasn't until I got to be an adult that even at the DMV, I had to go back numerous times and be like, no, it's Stalder. You're going to have to spell it. It's not Stadler. And so it's not an uncommon thing, but we'll definitely cheers to beers, canting this.
Absolutely.
Fall. Okay, Adam, we've done a few of these best ball tournaments. Do you want to give our viewers and listeners a little insight into what they can expect? This is an FFPC draft, so a little bit of tight end premium. It's $125 buy-in. What do you expect going into this draft?
I expect it to get a little crazy tonight. Lots of veterans in here, lots of guys that came in just to compete with each other in this draft. So it's gonna be fun. We've got some big names in here. I don't know if you want to go over who's in here or not, but there's some big names in here, and I think it's gonna get crazy. I know my guy Louis G's picking 11th and I'm 12th, and he's probably gonna be an asshole to me all night. So I'm gonna try to return the favor.
Yeah, we've got, I think Liam Murphy is in here at the 1-6. He's won the underdog tournament. I think he was the winner last year.
Charge.
Right, charge. It's getting started here.
Let's
go. Entering the draft room. Billy Muzio is joining us as well. And there we go. The 101 Jonathan Taylor. That's not so. I'm going to turn the audio off. There we go.
I didn't know if that was mine. I think it's mine too. I'm going to turn my audio off. There we go. I'm literally looking for how do I turn this audio off? I figured it out.
Okay. So here we go. Jonathan Taylor is up. Christian McCaffrey at the 102. So far, no surprise. This is a 1-minute timer, but the drafters, they'll go pretty quickly. We've got some vets in here. They know what they're doing. They're not going to agonize over picks.
Yeah, this is going to be a fast draft. But guys, we've been doing these drafts for months now, and guys know who they want, and they're going to take their guys. And you groaned there. Was that your pick, Justin Jefferson?
I love getting Jefferson at the 104, but I had Travis Kelce as my next man up. In looking at this being tight end premium and looking at what Kelce's done over the last few years, even in a full PPR, a tight end win rate, so not even the tight end premium, but a full PPR, his tight end win rate has been 62.5%. That means at least 62.5% of the time he's getting 15.5 PPR fantasy points. And that's a differentiator at that position so significantly. Like last year, Andrews was only at 44.8%. Gronk was at 42%. Knox was at 28%. And those were your top four. Yeah. So the positional advantage is so much greater in a tight end premium for particularly Travis Kelce, which is why I'm comfortable taking him at the 104. And then in regular PPR, probably at the end of the first round.
Are you afraid of I don't want to fade Kelce, and I won't fade Kelce, but are you afraid of him falling off at 33? The problem, even if he falls off in ability, he's going to get so many targets there without Tyreek Hill.
That's what I'm thinking, is any loss of talent at 33 for a tight end. Like we were talking about, is he going to fall off at 32? Is he going to fall off at 31?
I know.
He's not taking a lot of hits. He hasn't had the injuries that we're worried about. We've seen elite tight ends, last until their mid 30s.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of Delaney Walker, Jason Witten, Greg Olson. These are all like top
Tony
end.
Tony G did it for a while.
Right?
Yeah.
These are like the tight end position lasts, and even if he decays a little bit, he's in an offense where the quarterback's going to look his way. There aren't a lot of proven options. Like we're talking Mecole Hardman, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster may be the most intrusive to that position. But it's probably 2022 is still the year of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and he's got he's got familiarity, obviously, with Kelce. He doesn't. All these other guys are new as far as talking about Juju, MVS, Sky Moore. Like Kelce's going to be the old trusty. But I'm just interested to see how defenses are going to play them without Tyreek there. If he's going to get a ton of focus, it's going to be interesting. I'll have my shares, but last year I was willing to take. I think I took him at the 101 in a main event. Or two last year, but so I don't think I'll be doing that. I don't think I'll be doing that this year.
No, I think the 104 was a fine spot for him. As I said, I'd prefer Jefferson there, but what are you thinking here at the turn?
I'm thinking I'm gonna go running back here. Who do we take? Najee, Diggs. There's a couple. I think so. In best ball, I like to go RB heavy early because I feel like I can get those weeks, like those 1 touchdown, 80-yard performance weeks out of receivers in the 15th round on big splash plays, which backup running backs tend to not get unless they're the starter, unless they come in for an injury. So I think I'm going to go back-to-back running backs here and go Mixon. I'm really high on Saquon.
Please tell me, give me your optimism. I am not, so convince me, Adam. Convince me.
He's good at football, and the injury, and I don't think anyone's gonna argue that the injuries have been fluky. Like ACLs are fluky. The sprained ankle last year, fluky. Like it's not like it's like he keeps pulling his hamstring or he has a bad back or something. I'm banking on the injury luck kind of going his way. And then Daboll's just so much better than I'm not a big Daboll fan. I'm a Bills guy. So I've been there from the beginning with Daboll being an old coordinator for the Bills. I'm not a huge Daboll fan, but he's just so much better than what they had there. And they're talking about using him as a receiver.
Oh, you mean Jason Garrett calling plays?
Oh, yeah. Jason Garrett's horrific. I didn't even want to say his name. That's how bad he was. But I just think they're talking about using him as a receiver. I think they're going to unleash him. And he's in a contract year. Like, it's now or never for him. And I think he's going to come in. I think it's just a matter of like injury luck. He's one of those guys outside of the top. You got Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler, Healthy Henry. Outside of him, maybe Mixon. I don't think Mixon's going to do it now, but out of those 4 guys, he's the only guy I think that has a legit shot at like the number 1 overall running back. So I love this conversation when I was getting Barkley in like the 3rd round a month ago, but now he's creeping up. I took him here. This might be the earliest he's gone, but I just want to have him on as many leagues as I can. And so I decided because I have him ranked at Draft Sharks. We have him ranked higher than all the guys that went after him. So
interesting.
I like him there.
I like Swift ahead of Barkley. I'm not concerned about like Jamal Williams. There's no one else in that backfield. But
so why do you not like Barkley? Is it an injury thing?
Yeah, it's the residual effects of the injury. Like we saw him coming back from those injuries last year, and he just didn't look like he had the explosiveness. Take away those boom plays, he's not one of those runners that's going to make a juke at the line of scrimmage. He's one of those breakaway runners. He's got that breakaway speed. If he loses that dimension of his game, he becomes a pass catcher. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. I'm on the clock.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think I would rather have him have less. I don't know who they would give the carries to, but I would rather have him get less carries and more catches and to me, it's about touchdowns and catches for my running back. So if he gets more catches, less carries, and touchdown volume, I like the whole. I'm buying the whole Giants offense at cost this year. So what are you thinking over here?
Yeah, I'm tied between Fournette and Aaron Jones. And I think it's a toss-up right now. I like the Bucs offense better, but Aaron Jones' opportunity is just so high in PPR. Fournette does have the ADP bump, so I'm going to draft him. I don't know. I feel it's pretty similar. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I like Fournette. I don't know if you have this issue. I talk about this with people all the time, especially the guys that I draft with a lot. Is I was all over Fournette last year, where he was going ninth round, 10th, whatever, wherever
Right.
he was going. And so now the next year I have to take him in the second. And this is the problem. Like I had Cooper Cup everywhere in the fourth, and
Mm,
now I have to take him top three. Like it just makes it like so much more painful to have to do it. James Conner.
right.
So that's where I struggle. Man, I get it with Fournette. They might have Godwin out for a while, and the run volume's there.
Right.
But they did draft a running back early, and will he lose pass volume to the rookie? But Brady doesn't really like rookies, so I see it with Fournette. Totally see
Right.
it.
And this, if there's 1 year left for Fournette, it's this year with Tom
Right.
Brady.
Yeah.
The pass catching, because Fournette, this is a full PPR. Pass catching is going to be massive for
Yeah.
that Tampa Bay offense. And I know they re-signed to Gio Bernard, but that means nothing. He
Right.
didn't really factor in. So I think I like the Bucs offense better. They're going to be scoring more touchdowns. Fournette probably a goal line back too.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot more touchdown upside. And looking through my draft so far, I've tied myself to two of the better offenses, I think, in the NFL, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. So that's one of the things I'm keeping in mind as well as I'm constructing my lineups, not just what players, but also what teams am I going to correlate here as I move on with my draft.
Did you consider Kyle Pitts?
I didn't, because I took Kelsey, and even with
That's
like
right. I'm sorry. Duh.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not willing to tap the double tight ends. It's just, in all of the research I've done, even in tight end premium leagues, it just seems extremely suboptimal to take double tight end at the beginning of the draft, because as I mentioned, like it's the Kelsey tier. And then the difference between Travis Kelsey and Mark Andrews is pretty much like the rate at which Dawson Knox scores 15 fantasy points from PPR. Like
Yeah.
it's so significant that I'm just putting my chips in on Kelsey, and
Yeah.
then we'll see where it goes. I don't want Pitts in my flex spot, even though we're flexing two.
So I guess yeah, I totally forgot that you took Kelsey there. I guess my question should have been, if you didn't go in hindsight, would you like Kelsey Fournette, or would you maybe like another player in Pitts, or you're just that? Because to me, Pitts could be the tight end one this year. Like I absolutely love Pitts. I almost went Pitts Barkley at 12 to 13, but I just think that I know you're coming on the clock here, but I just think that he has the opportunity to be the tight end one. He was a rookie last year and was just awesome, and he never scored. He's going to score more this year. His only other competition is another rookie, really, as the receiver. So I just think he could absolutely smash.
I have optimism for him being like moving into that upper tier. He had all of the stats, all of the route running, and all of the
Yeah.
target share, and all of those things. It was just not the fantasy points that translated to fantasy goodness. Like he was due for touchdown regression, but now the offense is worse, like significantly worse
Yeah.
in Atlanta. And they brought in Drake London, who's an improvement over Russell Gage. Billy
Yeah.
just messaged me, Tyreek is not on Kansas City anymore. And I am aware of that, Billy. Thank you for your sass. But no, I think that Tyreek Hill still has. So when I'm building these teams, I want to keep wide receiver. What can I expect from my wide receiver one? What can I expect from my running back one? What can I expect from my tight end one? And Tyreek Hill still has, I think, that wide receiver one upside, like the top 12 pretty weekly spike weeks. He may bust, but I also wonder if it's Tua just dumping off to him or using him close to the line of scrimmage like Jalen. They'll get the ball into his hands quickly.
Yeah. I just think two is terrible. But even if he's terrible, Tyreek can still be good. Let me see. Where did he go? I'm trying to see. Wide receiver 10, 12?
Yeah, he went after T. Higgins, which I'm happy about. I'm not happy that Mike Evans didn't come to me. He's the type of player that I like getting at this spot at like the beginning of the third, end of the second. And just,
Yeah. I love Tyreek. He's still young enough. If he would have gone there and there was no, like if Jalen Waddle wasn't there, I would love it. But I feel like you have the same thing and two just doesn't have the arm. And it's not like I'm just like falling for
Oh, you fell for the
clickbait.
the
Listen, I've been
clickbait
saying go.
mess up pass.
Doesn't have an arm for 3 years. He's a Hall of Famer, all world Tyreek Hill. They didn't trade for him to not use him. So we'll see. We'll see there. I'm okay with not taking Tyreek Hill and having him burn me because I can draft out, like I said, I could take a Mike Evans, like you said there, like Mike Evans.
I would rather take Evans. I'd rather take Deebo Samuel. I think there's a teardrop though. There's debate. Like I was thinking either Tyreek Hill or AJ Brown because I feel like they have similar access to the wide receiver one elite upside that you're wanting. But there's a huge teardrop from AJ Brown down to Michael Pittman, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson. That's where you start getting into your perennial wide receiver twos, your safe players. And I don't think I want to take a safe player as my wide receiver one.
I don't disagree there, especially in these tournaments. So you want to go get your guys that you think can smash for sure.
Plus, I'm hoping that, and looking at what the board would bring to me. Ooh, good pick with Breece Hall, by the way. He was a consideration there, but I felt it was too early to take Breece Hall at the beginning of the third round.
Yeah, I love Breece Hall this year. And plus, like, I got to punish these guys. Like, when they're going to go receiver, quarterback, tight end, I'm not letting you get Breece Hall. He's not falling back to you.
Also, hats off about the Mike Williams pick. Make it make sense to me, Adam. Why is Mike Williams in best ball leagues going behind Keenan Allen? Make it make sense to me.
Yeah, I think just because people think that Keenan, you just said best ball league, so that could change my answer. But I think Keenan Allen's safer. People think he's safer. But yeah, you want that big upside. And Mike Williams, again, he's another guy I was talking about. I loved Mike Williams last year, and now I got to spend a fourth round pick on him. But I think that he's in an ascending offense, superstar quarterback. Who do they play week 17? I think they got a big week 17 matchup too. The Rams. I mean,
yeah, smash that baby.
He might get Jalen Ramsey. I hope he doesn't, but that might be Keenan Allen. Who knows? I like the whole NFC, the AFC West going to be shootouts galore, I feel like. And so, yeah, Big Mike had maybe he was inconsistent, but that's what he does. He has 5 or 6 massive weeks, and the rest, who cares?
That's all you need because the rest of your players are going to fill in the gaps, and those are the differentiating weeks.
Exactly. And the way that I'm building my team too is I got the 3, what I'm hoping is 3 workhorse backs, and then I'm going to have those. I'm probably going to go with quantity over quality at receiver here, and just load up on a bunch of them, and hopefully.
Man, Travis Etienne going off, that sucks.
Were you targeting him?
I was hoping Etienne would come off.
Yeah,
to me.
No, Etienne. I like Etienne. I've been coming around to him a little bit more, but
when I was getting him 5th, 6th round in the underdog drafts, all day, every day, baby.
Yeah. You can still get Breece Hall in the 5th, 6th round, I think, at some of these underdog drafts.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, I'm excited to get Breece Hall. I think they traded up to take him in the 2nd, or maybe they just went ahead and took him. But I'm excited to see.
I'm not a believer that Michael Carter will get the snaps that will so significantly affect Breece Hall that he won't return on your investment of drafting him there.
That's right. Exactly. I think Carter's good. I think he's fine. When he had the opportunity, he was a top 20 back, but the Jets went a certain direction for a reason. And almost every backfield has a Michael Carter, where there's another, like, people aren't, Jonathan Taylor's the 101 and Naheem Hines they're talking about featuring him in the passing game, and it doesn't scare people off of Jonathan Taylor. So
yeah, nope.
And Breece Hall is probably really good. Metrics show like he's probably really good. So I'm okay with taking, and he's 20 years old. That's why I want young guys. I want guys that are going to get the rock. So hopefully that pans out for me.
All right. I will take my stack here.
There you go.
Chiefs. It fits with my thought. It fits with ADP. I get the stack.
Yep.
And I've tied myself to that offense.
That's right. How do you feel about Jay Reed taking Dalton Schultz there? Pick. I love Schultz this year. But I have him like at the back end of the tier. But let me see what his ADP is. Is he normally mid 4th?
I do have him ahead of TJ Hawkinson, which is where he went. So I think this is maybe the right spot for him in this type of draft.
Yeah, he goes at 4-12.
Okay,
So
so not too bad. And you
yep,
get your tight end, and if you're not a TJ Hawkinson fan, like that's fine. I feel like
for sure. And nobody was a bigger Hawkinson
he,
fan than I was last year, but I'm taking Schultz ahead of Hawkinson this year.
he's probably the second pass catcher to start the season.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's just one of those things, like I don't have obviously any numbers or analytics on this, but I feel like once a tight end becomes good and trustworthy, like I feel like the quarterback just relies, it doesn't ever stop. They just keep using the tight end, they involve him more and more in the offense. The quarterback becomes accustomed to it. It just becomes a thing. Like it doesn't really bust after that. But the man, the myth, the legend.
On the clock, starting the 5th round. Taking Cam Akers, what is your thought of the two running backs who just went off, Dobbins and Akers, who didn't play at all last year, coming off
I know.
preseason injuries? I feel like those are two of the riskiest running back picks in the 4th round. Like you just don't know what you're going to get from them. We saw a little bit from Cam Akers in the Super Bowl, not inspiring. And the man, myth, legend comes back around and also takes Allen Robinson. So he's just chips in on ambiguity, I think. How do you feel about seeing Akers and Robinson on the same team in the first 5 rounds?
So full disclosure, I almost took Allen Robinson over Mike Williams, but I just thought it was too early, and I'll get my shares of Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson this year. The only thing that I think happened, I think he just didn't care last year. Not that's a great trait to have, but I think Chicago, nobody cared. It was a disaster, and he just didn't become bad overnight. I think it's a situation where now he's got Matt Stafford, and I think he's going to be really good. And I think that the only thing against Allen Robinson, as far as the ambiguity is Odell Beckham coming back. If Beckham comes back, that could really hurt Robinson.
At the end of the season, maybe, like during your playoffs, yes.
Right.
But at the beginning of the season, I think it's still Robinson.
Yeah, sure. But I absolutely love Robinson. Akers is a dead zone running back as far as, like you said, you just don't know. Akers could be, I mean, if Akers does what Darrell Henderson did last year, you're fine with Akers there. Darrell Henderson was probably a top 12 back before he got hurt, and then Sony Michel came in, and then Akers came back in. I think the Rams want to feature one running back there, and if Akers is healthy and good and it's him, you'll be fine with Akers there. But Henderson's still there, and Henderson was good, so we'll see how that goes. And I think Akers was probably a pretty good pick based on ADP. We're going to see where Akers normally goes at the 4-3, so he definitely got good value there.
Well, for sure, I think that's going to be a good value. I went in the 5th round, Cortland Sutton, and looking at the Week 17 correlation now.
Yeah,
the Chiefs host the Broncos.
Oh yeah,
and I've got the wide receiver 1, in my opinion, for the Denver Broncos. What is your opinion, Judy versus Sutton?
I prefer Judy. I think it's going to be the same situation they had there with DK Metcalf. I think Sutton is going to be Metcalf. Judy's going to be Lockett type of thing. I think Judy was a better prospect. I think he's a better receiver. They're just two different types of players. One's a route runner underneath guy. Another guy's a deep ball kind of alpha. And I also, there's some, I forget what it was when Judy and Sutton played last year. Sutton was pretty, and I had him in a big 3K league. Sutton, he was droppable. Not only was he unstartable, he was droppable at the end of the year last year. So that kind of scares me. I know his knee's going to be a little bit better, but I would much prefer Judy, I think.
See, in the best ball realm, like over the last couple of years, it's been clearly Cortland Sutton hitting those upside weeks. And I think that's my perspective of taking shots on like the Cortland Suttons of the world is I want those spike weeks. And he's been doing that. I think in my research, it was the 15.5 fantasy points that gets you at least a flex spot. And he did that 26% of the time over the last 3 years, whereas Judy's only done that about 7% of the time over the last 2 years. And they've had about the same bad quarterback play. I think it's just the big, it's the average depth of target and it's the touchdowns that sway me towards Sutton.
Yeah, to me, I don't think there's good arguments on both sides. No one's going to know, and because it's a new quarterback, it's whatever Russell Wilson is comfortable with. And I'm over here talking about how much I love Judy and on freaking stream, and then not that
he's coming up.
Not that I mean that'd have been crazy to get him at the 5-6 turn, but I just and I'm gonna have my shares of both. It's not like I'm fading Sutton. I'm certainly not fading Sutton. In fact, I wouldn't mind stacking them, those two, especially for that last game there the year. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm looking here. So far, you don't have a tight end, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other teams not having tight ends so far. We have seen a double tap of tight end from, who is that? From Dogsy.
Dogsy loves
Loves
his
his
tight
tight
ends.
ends, Waller and Hawkinson. I'm a little lower on Waller this year. It makes sense with the target shares going around. Devontae Adams has had a 30% target share each of the last couple of years out of Green Bay. And I think this is more of the DeAndre Hopkins going from Houston to Arizona transition than an Odell Beckham from New York to Cleveland. So I think Devontae Adams really isn't bumped down very much for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree there. But I ended up here going with Godwin and Herbert at the turn. Herbert to stack with Big Mike there. Godwin, I mean,
Yeah, tell me about Godwin, because I've not drafted a lot of Godwin. His price just seems so expensive for the ACL tear.
yeah, I mean, his price keeps dropping too. That's the thing. Like his ADP recently is 5'11" in these. I got him at 5'12". I thought about going Godwin, Bateman, and just not getting Herbert, but I really wanted to get to stack Mike and Herbert. But I think Godwin, these guys generally come back from from the ACL tears. I know it was in December, I think. I mean, they come back fairly quickly. They come back fairly healthy. I'm willing to take a shot. Godwin's a top 15 receiver if he comes back healthy. And again, I don't need him to be the man right out of the gate. I'm playing to win the big prize at the end. I know he is my wide receiver too, which isn't the best thing in the world right now. But I don't think he's going to be on the pup or anything. So if I think he's going to play, I really like that. I really like it getting him there.
Yeah, if he can play week 1, that would be a shift of the narrative for me, because I'm not confident that he'll be able to be back. I think he will start on the pup, and I think it's Russell Gage is the wide receiver 2 that you want in the Tampa Bay offense to start the season.
And maybe I'll still draft him.
As the Russell Gage truther for the last few years, I'll tell you what, Jack Trainer popping in. Hey, Jack, thanks for watching the stream. He was listening, but didn't intentionally snipe Judy.
There you go. Good. Thank you, Jack, for telling me that. But that was a great pick. Love Judy there. But yeah, no, this is going pretty well so far. I've been able to get my 3 running backs. I generally don't go quarterback this early, but I like this being able to get him with Mike Williams there. How do you feel so far about the beginning of your draft?
I'm on the clock, but
Okay, never mind.
I'm gonna select one of my favorite wide receivers.
Ooh.
Actually, no, I'm hoping he'll come back.
Okay.
Just kidding. There's a lot of wide receivers out there actually that may come back to me. I'm gonna take a running back here, and in full PPR, this is a sneaky play that I think is one of my favorite 0 RB running back plays. And call me a homer, but it's AJ Dillon.
Ooh, talk to me. Talk to me about
Yeah.
AJ Dillon.
Yeah, AJ Dillon. So last year, AJ Dillon was 30th among all running backs in receptions,
Okay.
which is massive, thinking that Aaron Jones was 6th. So in a full PPR, getting a running back who does catch passes, and he had caught 32. He had 34 targets. So he caught almost all of the passes that were thrown his way. The offense is going to run through AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
That's who you want. And we think that the offense is going to be okay. I think that AJ Dillon he's close to the goal line if they're going to run the ball. He's going to catch some passes, and this offense is going to be okay. So they're going to be in positive game scripts. It'll probably be AJ Dillon to close out some of the games. And if Aaron Jones gets hurt, AJ Dillon becomes a consideration in the Austin Eckler range, the Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, like value range.
Yeah, so interesting. I don't disagree with anything you said there. My question that I've stumbled, because I am a pro. I love 0 RB builds. I think they're fun. I do them. I've had success with them. I get it. I've also, as you see here, I'll go heavy RB if I have to when it comes to best ball. So why Dillon in round 6 and not Tony Pollard maybe two rounds later? Because we've seen Tony Pollard do it. I know we've seen AJ Dillon do a little bit, but Pollard had 1,000 yards last year. I feel you could do both of them, but I feel like I'm going to say it, arbitrage. I promised I wouldn't say it. I've always wanted to say arbitrage on a podcast before, but I feel like Pollard 2 rounds
Congratulations
later,
on your first time. Dun,
yeah.
da, 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 da.
Do I sound super smart and dorky now? Arbitrage. But I feel like to me, Pollard, for the same reasons you took Dillon, to me, Pollard 2 rounds later is the guy. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is because I'm not going to take him in this build that I have now. But Pollard, to me, I like better. And I started to think through this when I took Dillon, like where you just did. I'm like, wait a minute. I could have had Pollard 2 rounds later. What do you think?
See, I am completely out on Tony Pollard.
Okay.
Oh,
what just happened?
I know he's going around 10 in the underdog drafts, and I think that's still too expensive. Over the last 3 years, he's only had an 11% running back win rate, so that's typical of all of your other handcuffs. He's arguably the most expensive handcuff, and the reason why I'm less optimistic than AJ Dillon is because the Cowboys put their mouth where their money is, and they will keep Ezekiel Elliott on the field until he is literally broken, boned, until he is dismembered, he is decapitated, until they can't find him anymore, until Zeke refuses to get on the field. And that's the thing. He will play through injury. The coaches will put him out even though he's injured. We saw that last year. Even if he's ineffective, they've got money tied up in Zeke. There is no reason for them to play Pollard if Zeke is there. I'm just banking on Ezekiel Elliott being durable enough that it just crushes Pollard's value.
Yeah, I can't argue with it.
Yes, he came back. He came back, Adam. He came back. Let's go.
I love it. Who is it? Elijah Moore. I'm going to say one quick thing about the Pollard thing, and then I'll let you brag about Elijah Moore. I just think that eventually, like that, the win rate stuff is great, but when, like, I'm banking on, not banking, it's an 8th round pick, but like I'm counting on eventually Zeke has to miss a game. Eventually Zeke has to break down. Eventually he has to. Last year he's limping on and off the field, and they're still playing him. Eventually,
that's what I'm banking on. Is McCarthy's not like the coach that's going to take Zeke off the field. He's
an idiot anyways, but
I look, as a Packers fan, I have many opinions about McCarthy.
But yeah, I totally get you. I like Dillon in the 6th. I like Pollard in the 8th. But go ahead, talk about Elijah Moore.
Oh, baby. What not to love about Elijah Moore? Now he's going to be hopefully playing in the slot, and this dude can absolutely rake. Like, he had a wide receiver 1 weekly finish last year as a rookie. Like, Jamar Chase did that. Elijah Moore also did that on the Jets. And we're expecting, like, Zach Wilson should be better. The offensive line should be better. The defense should be a little bit better. All the things about the Jets should be better. Garrett Wilson should open things up. Corey Davis will be healthy. Like, I'm expecting Elijah Moore to be the number 1 receiver in this team. Like, Garrett Wilson is more of a speedster, more of a route runner. Corey Davis, the big bodied wide receiver. Elijah Moore, though, is going to be Zach Wilson's go-to guy. And if this offense is going to work, it's going to be Wilson to Moore.
Are you nervous that Zach Wilson is just awful? Because he was historically bad last year.
Yes.
Okay.
I am. I'm not going to, maybe I'll take a late Zach Wilson in this build, but Elijah Moore, he's the shining star on what was a really bad team last year and still put up some really good fantasy weeks. I like getting him as my wide receiver 3 here. And he's got some spike week potential. If he pops in as my flex play, or even we've seen a wide receiver 1 week out of him.
Yeah, my concern with Elijah Moore is that I think Garrett Wilson, maybe not this year, but maybe this year, is better than Elijah Moore. And I loved Garrett Wilson. I just loved him. I thought he was maybe the best receiver in the draft coming out. Not that matters, but I just absolutely love Garrett Wilson, and I feel like he might be the best receiver there. Now, again, he's going to be a rookie, and they got to work on the rapport, and Zach Wilson might be absolutely terrible, but I just feel, Louis, freaking going to killed this guy. Sorry. He took Drake London. I couldn't believe he fell all the way to the – I was about to take him. I was going to take Treylon too, but all right, I think I'm going to take the dive here. I'm going to go grab my tight end with Ertz. And then it's best ball. I'm going to go with a little upside here.
Ooh, let's see.
I'm going to go with a little upside, week 17 matchup type stuff. I'm torn between so many receivers. But I got to stay on brand with the guy I've been taking forever, and I'm going to go with Sky Moore. I just feel like best ball, he's going to pop. He's going to have some big weeks.
And you're taking away from my stack, I guess.
And I was just about to say, I hope you weren't looking for him, but I've been taking him an underdog. I've been taking him all over. There's a chance he absolutely busts, but there's also, again, if he give me 4 monster weeks with Pat over there in Kansas City, and hopefully those weeks are towards the end of the year, I would love it.
I'm pretty agnostic towards Sky Moore. My strongest opinions are about the veteran wide receivers. I think it's Juju and MVS are really close when it comes to the same upside. Juju's going to have the more consistent floor, but Marcus Valdez-Scantling can access those ceilings due to the average depth of target and the touchdown rate. But the one wide receiver like I won't be drafting is Mecole Hardman. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Yeah. And I know that there are some very prominent fantasy football analysts out there who are they're drinking up all of the leftover Mecole Hardman. I'll let them remain unnamed on the stream, but you can check out my Twitter feed and see who I've been discussing some Mecole Hardman love-hate on the timeline. Looking at their upsides, it's nowhere close. Mecole Hardman has spent 3 years with arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and he has not boomed. He has not boomed unless it's Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce out.
Right.
No, and now you've added a second-round wide receiver in the draft. You've added the ADOT leader of the last 2 years and a wide receiver with a 1,400-yard season on his resume. Come on, it's not Mecole Hardman's breakout season.
No, and I was pretty high on Mecole last year, saying that, hey, is it possible that Mecole Hardman gets better? Can he just get better as a player? And I just don't think it's happened. And the Chiefs don't think it's happened because they said they did everything that you just said. I think I had Kevin Scott on my podcast a couple weeks ago, and he's a Chiefs fan and I think he lives down there, and he was saying that he doesn't think it's going to happen with Mecole either. Yeah, I'm definitely out on him for sure. And you're coming up here. Oh, I hope you didn't get sniped on Tyler Lockett there.
Oh,
Never mind.
Are you kidding me? That was the only player that I wanted at that spot.
Oh, boy. I was just being sarcastic. Oh, my gosh.
No, I love Tyler Lockett. Oh, my gosh. All right.
Now what?
Now we got to pivot a little bit. It's okay. I've got 30 seconds.
Yeah, take your time. I'll ramble on about
that's fine.
About Zach Ertz. I like taking Zach Ertz there. I had a Goddard in my rankings, and I had a Dawson Knox. So I think Andy's got that. Let me see. I'm not one of those guys that memorizes the schedule, but I have it up here in front of me. But he's got the Falcons week 17. So and he might be their number 2 target or number 1 target for the first 6 weeks of the season. So we'll see.
I took Christian Kirk there.
Okay.
Week 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars are in a dome against the Houston Texans, and I like that matchup. Kirk has historically had some of the bigger blow-up games, and I think that there is going to be – there's 2 things in favor. Trevor Lawrence taking a step forward. I think we're all saying that's going to work. And secondly is Doug Peterson typically runs his offense pretty fast. And we've seen the wide receiver 1 on his offense, like Alshon Jeffrey, have some big seasons. And I don't think Christian Kirk is Alshon Jeffrey. Like, they're not built the same. But looking at who else the wide receivers are for Jacksonville, there's who else? Who else is it going to be? The tight ends? It's going to be Travis Etienne as the wide receiver 1, let's be honest. But
ooh, wow, I would love that. Would be interesting. Yeah, they brought in. I really like Evan Ingram. I don't want to start talking about guys that if we're targeting them or they haven't been taken yet. But yeah, I think they're going to spread the ball around a little bit. But I think that I like Kirk to be their wide receiver 1, And again, it's best ball, right? You just need the timely weeks. So the weeks where you need him to pop, he's your wide receiver 4. So
this is the opportunity that we thought the Cardinals were going to give to him before they traded for DeAndre Hopkins.
Sure. Yep. No, I totally get it. And I know, and like you said, I think they get the Texans the last game, week 17 there.
And the Texans defense is not good.
No. And can I say that you're talking about the Texans defense? People who think that we can't project. We don't know what's going to happen this season. We definitely don't know what's going to happen in week 17, blah, blah. We don't know what defenses are going to be good. You can at least try to figure out what defenses are going to be good. Look, if a defense wasn't good and then it didn't really add a lot of guys in the draft or didn't really add significant guys in free agency, like they probably won't be good again. So I'm not even speaking about the Texans specifically, but I think you can go in there and go, okay, the Bills had a great defense and they added a first-round corner and they added Von Miller. They're probably not going to be bad.
No.
The Denver Broncos added pieces. The Chargers added pieces. You can figure it out a little bit. So I just don't want people to thinking you got to be lazy and not try to figure it out, because you should absolutely be trying to get every edge that you possibly can.
I agree. Get the edges. Right now we see a little bit of a quarterback run. Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott go off the board. And then Kadarius Toney, Robert Woods. Man, oh man.
Robert Woods. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship, Brad. Farrell Elliott runs it. And I was in a draft last night or maybe 2 nights ago. I can't remember. And Robert Woods went off at the 311. And I'm like, is this 2021? Like, well, what happened? I was so confused. So I just wanted to make sure he's going in the 9th round. I needed to sync myself there. All right, so you're coming up here. I'm just going to talk to some of these guys in chat. Louis, if you don't take Trey Lance with your next pick, you hear me? If you don't take Trey Lance with your next pick, just to spite you, I'm taking him at the turn. All right, I don't even need him, and I'm taking him. All right, tough guy.
All right, man, we're getting tough here with some of the Buffalo running backs that are available.
Ooh.
But I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go with some correlation here with Tyreek Hill, Chase Edmonds.
Nice. Talk to me about Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, so I think he fits what the Dolphins want to do in their offense. They want to have motion. They want to have players catch the ball close to the line of scrimmage. And Chase Edmonds makes his living in full PPR. He's been pretty consistently a running back 2 or a flex play for you over the last couple of years. And I know he's not like a spike week type of player, but looking at what wide receivers are there, I'm not interested in taking like the Allen Lazards of the world.
Sure. No, I totally get that. Man, Lazard's interesting. We can talk about him when he gets drafted. But yeah, Edmonds could be, again, he's a 2 is going to be a low ADOT guy. The thing about Edmonds to me, like, I feel like he's electric. He looks electric when he gets the ball, and he's a great pass catcher, I feel. But they have so many of those short pass catching. Both the receivers can be those low ADOT guys. But again, it's Edmonds in the 9th round. I think he's fine. He's fine there.
Yeah,
I think he's fine there. All right, who's taking Mecole Hardman here? Come on, somebody.
Sounds good to me.
Somebody come up here and take Mecole. A couple of guys I still like here.
Adam, you want to check the chat, the private chat for a sec?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I'm always.
It's all good.
Yeah,
we'll have. All right, cool beans. Yeah, no, I think that to get him that late as like a flex play running back 2 that can rotate in, I'm pretty comfortable getting Chase Edmonds, and he'll have his spike weeks. They aggressively went after him in free agency. He was the first running back signed. So,
right. No, I completely agree with that. Man, there's a couple guys here. Better do it, Lou. Better do it. But yeah, it's the fun part about picking on the turn is you can double tap players. But Absolutely. The hard part is when you've got 4 guys. Oh, look at him. He's calling my bluff. He's calling my bluff. You've got I'm actually glad he took James Cook, because that was a guy that I was toying with here. But I know I don't have the quarterback, but I've got Sky Moore, so I'm going to go MVS.
Oh, dang you, Adam. Dang you.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
And then I'm going to go with another guy that I don't know if you like or not, but at this point I love him. His name's Chase Claypool.
Ooh. I've been hearing good things about Claypool this offseason.
Yeah, I was
into the slot and Pickens moving on the outside. I love that move.
I was super high on him before Pickens came because I love Pickens as a talent, but I think he's a bit of a head case. But then again, so is Chase Claypool. So I'm just hoping that talent, third-year wide receiver, I'm hoping he just develops and gets smarter. Tomlin's a great coach for a guy like Claypool and a guy like Pickens. And I think that Claypool was going to like the 6th round last year. Like,
yeah, it's really expensive.
He didn't get bad all of a sudden. So I'm in best ball. I'm willing to take a shot on him.
Yeah, and I'm up here next.
That's right. So Louis calls my bluff with the Trey Lance thing, and then he ends up taking him. I knew it. I was trying to talk him into it, but I couldn't.
Ridiculous.
Couldn't do it.
Ridiculous. Okay, so I am on the clock, and oh boy.
What are you thinking? Talk it out. Talk it out.
No, I'm looking here. There's some correlation that I could go for. There's also, I could defer that. I see Deshaun Watson up there. We talked off air about Deshaun Watson. We'll talk more about him after I make my pick. But there's no way that I'm taking Deshaun Watson at this spot. It just doesn't make sense. Plus ADP.
Right.
Like, it's not going to work out. Let's get a high upside second tight end.
Get that Dolphins thing going here. You're already all in. You're all in on those Dolphins.
We are dolphining right now. Gesicki, though, last year his tight end win rate was ahead of Darren Waller, ahead of Hunter Henry, ahead of Dallas Goedert, ahead of Noah Fant.
Wow. There you go. Here's the thing, Gesicki, I love him as a talent. I mean, he's not really like Pitts. He's not really a tight end. He's a receiver. Mm-hmm. Again, my only question is, can Tua support all those weapons? I mean, you're basically hoping Jalen Waddle busts here, which is fine, obviously. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't know this was the direction that I was going.
I'm fine. Which is, I think you got to take every draft is different. Every draft has a life of its own. But yeah, I do like him as a talent. And again, I'm probably the lowest person you will ever meet on Tua, just because I'm a Bills fan. I'm an AFC East guy. I've watched him since he came in, and I just like, whatever. But I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, it's probably going to cost me a lot of money.
I'm more trusting the offensive system.
Sure,
that's going to support Tua to be fantasy okay,
right?
And the other satellite pieces, the supportive pieces, are going to be there.
Yeah,
they've set him up for success, is what I'm looking at. I'm less optimistic about Tua himself as a talent. Like you mentioned, the arm strength isn't there. Not a lot of good reads. Like I wonder if that hip injury is still like in the back of his mind.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And
like back in the depths of his soul. I remember.
I just don't even think he's like that athletic to begin with. Like he's not even like, for a guy his size, I feel like he needs to be more athletic, but you're 100% right there. And he's been absolutely set up for success. The Dolphins have a top 3-4 skill position group. It's just, if you gave Josh Allen those weapons, goodness gracious me.
Tua isn't anything like Josh Allen, but we might see the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they were competitive last year. Flores got them playing at a pretty high level. They won some games, especially near the end of the year. They started really slow and then picked it up. And there's 20 seconds until I'm up. I've got to do it. Adam. I've got to
do it.
We're doing it.
Oh,
we are going full to. We're going
at this point.
This is it. This is the spot. This is the spot to take Tua Tagovailoa. And now I've got my 2 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes. I've got my 2 Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa. My 2 tight ends, Travis Kelce and Mike Gesicki. I've got some upside with Hill and Sutton. Fournette is there as well. I like A.J. Dillon. I like how this draft has turned out. I'm okay with it. I didn't plan to go Miami, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And listen, you just gotta, what you're in, you gotta take the quarterback. You gotta go all in, and if it works, you're sitting pretty. Who does Miami even have the last?
New England.
Oh, New England. They stink.
In Foxborough though.
Yeah, that could be.
But maybe that's the Maybe that's the rub, because not a lot of people are going to be putting week 17 correlations together.
You're dead right on that, for sure.
So maybe I look at some of the New England pieces.
Absolutely. All right, coming up on me here soon. I got to start.
Some of the viewers have turned away ever since I went all Miami.
I know,
3
like,
straight
oh,
Miami
boy.
picks, but here we are.
What was this guy thinking?
Oh man, Ramondre Stevenson, Nyheim Hines, Deshaun Watson went off the board before me. Morality aside, because we've seen and read some of the things that are like just absolutely disastrous. If verified and true, he doesn't deserve to play in the NFL. From a fantasy, like, hedging the risk perspective, I still can't get in on drafting Deshaun Watson almost at all, given what we've seen come out over the last few days.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the NFL does. It's funny to see how, especially on like fantasy Twitter, how nobody thought, or not nobody, but recently people didn't really think he was going to miss the entire year of 2022.
Right.
And then Twitter gets going. They're like, oh, wow, yeah, he should miss the whole year. He should miss the whole year. I hope he missed the whole year. And so they've built it up like he's going to miss the whole year. And now they're like, well, if he misses the whole year, what's Baker made? Hold on a minute. Let's just wait and see what happens. So that's aside from whether I think he should be able to, because people have done. I have Joe Mixon on my team. Like, Joe Mixon has done horrible things on camera that we've seen.
But that's the thing, Adam. And I went on a little bit of a rant about this during the off season. Is if you are not caught on camera, or if there are not pictures, it's really difficult for the NFL to punish you significantly.
I know it's
unless some of the massage therapists come forward with something like that, I think his career is over if that's the case. But
yeah, it's going to be. I'm trying to decide here between two guys. Do I go with this?
You took Rachaad White, which I like as a handcuff, and running back 43. That's not a bad one.
And then I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. A little unknown there. It was between him, and I'm sure he's not going to make it back to you, but it was between him and Kenny Galladay. I have Saquon, but you know what? Let me go with Jameson. See,
that week 17 is the Bears at the Lions in Detroit. That could be a Jameson Williams spike week. The Bears they're just terrible everywhere.
And that was my argument for Allen Robinson. But back to Deshaun Watson real quick. Yeah, I'm not drafting him just because I think there's a chance he doesn't play. And it's not like he's going in the 18th round. He's going in the 11th round. So if he's going in the 18th, it'd be a different story. Because like you said, the morality aside, like if we really cared about all that stuff, we wouldn't be drafting guys like Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon and stuff like that. We do care about when it comes to fantasy. It's different. So listen, if you're one of those guys that wants to go in and take those guys off your board, great, awesome. I respect that. But
you want to take the risk. That's more risk management than morality.
Exactly. So I just don't think he's going to play. I think there's a chance he might not play because just more and more keeps coming out. And so we'll see. I'm kind of more disgusted about what the Browns have done. Guaranteed him all that money, and then they made it so he only makes $1 million or something this year, so that if he gets suspended, he doesn't lose anything really.
And I'll push back on the Brown side, just because it's not uncommon for a lot of players to have the $1 million in the first year. That's not an uncommon contractual thing. And the second is the Browns wanted to get this guy on their team.
Yeah, I get that.
When they were told they were out, they were like, what would it take for us to get back to the table? And it's fully guaranteed.
Yep.
I get it that you want to get the best quarterback on your team, but I don't know if due diligence was done in this case.
I know they were probably like, hey, is this it? Is this all we have to worry about? He's like, yeah, sure. And then, oh wait, another one, like DJ Khaled.
I like the reference. Reference.
Right.
Okay, let's look. I'm looking at the week 17 matchups for a couple of the players.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now it gets okay. Do I stack? Do I correlate? Do I take the best player available? Like,
Right.
what do I do? Do I need a quarterback? Do I need a tight end? It
Could
gets
be a lot of things.
exactly.
I'm going to take a running back here. Kenneth Gainwell, interestingly enough, 20% of his weeks that he played, he was like at least a flex play for you in PPR.
Okay. Yeah,
And
no,
if there's hate for Miles Sanders, it's got to go toward Kenneth Gainwell.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've always told people. Like, listen, you got to be like, if you hate one guy, you have to boost up somebody else. If you like a guy, you have to take away from somewhere else. If Miles Sanders is going in the ninth round or whatever it is, seventh, eighth round, like you got to move up Gainwell a little bit just on hedging the fact that maybe Miles Sanders isn't it. And I'm kind of like Miles Sanders sounds good and everything because of where he was like 2 years ago. He was a first round pick last year.
Right.
He was, but it's just at some point, it's just, is it ever going to happen for certain guys?
Somebody offered me Miles Sanders for Clyde Edwards-Helaire straight up in a dynasty league, and I smashed it.
No, I get it.
I view them as pretty similar possible outputs, but EH is 2 years younger, like a full 2 years, 24 months younger. And I'm not sure if it's going to happen for Clyde Edwards-Helaire either, but he's got more time to figure it out.
For sure. For sure. And he's in a really good offense and all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But all right, so what do you got here? You got your
Landry went off. I was contemplating Landry instead of Kenneth Gainwell. I was also looking at the matchup, and the New Orleans Saints travel to Philadelphia week 17. And that game, it could be rainy, it could be cold, it could be bad. I would rather have the Saints in a dome a week 17 if I wanted to take like Jarvis Landry there.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of. I can think back to years. The one that always pops into my head it was years ago. It was, and I don't remember where it was, but it was Kurt Warner and the Cardinal travel back when it was like Fitz and Bolden, and they were unbelievable. And it was fantasy championship week, and I figured they went somewhere, and it was an absolute whiteout. And I had so much Fitz, and I had so much Bolden, and I had so much, and it was just. I lost so much money that weekend because that game they scored 0 point because it was an absolute blizzard.
Yeah.
Like playing like dome type stuff, the safety of playing in a dome for fantasy is very underappreciated, I think.
I would concur. There's one wide receiver here. I think it's the last of the first round rookies. I'm going to take Jahan Dotson at this spot in the 13th round. I know that it's in Washington. The Browns play the Commanders there, but yeah, the Browns, their defense has some strong points to it, but by that time, Jahan Dotson could be spiking in week 17, number one. And number two is I did a first round wide receiver study of upside on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And looking at first round wide receivers, over the last 3 years, their 84th percentile weekly output was 16 fantasy half PPR points in 2019, 17 and a half, almost 18 in 2019, and almost 19 points or 2019, 2020, and then 19 points in 2021. So we've seen first round wide receivers really spike, especially near the end of the season. And I'm okay with having the wide receivers I have right now. But now that we get into the later rounds, like he's still a first round draft capital, even if you think he was a reach for Washington.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a reach for Washington, but I totally get what you're saying. They're not going to give up on him. He's not going to get caught. Like none of that stuff. He's going to get every opportunity in the world.
Like, and what's the narrative? Maybe Curtis Samuel gets hurt again,
right?
And then it's Jahan Dotson, or Terry McLaurin gets hurt again, and then it's Jahan Dotson. Logan Thomas, maybe he hasn't recovered fully by week 17. There are real narratives that we've seen over the last few years come to fruition that pave the way for Jahan Dotson to be a legitimate answer here.
No, I agree there. I don't think I have much of him, but if you're going to take him, that's absolutely the narrative that you have to talk about is there are paths there for sure. Yeah, definitely. And again, like you said, it's the 13th round. Pull the trigger.
All right. Adam, you want to recap your draft before you get onto your pick? What does your draft look like for those who are watching and listening?
Yeah. So I started with, I don't think I can go in order here. I don't have the board up, but Herbert, Mixon, Barkley, Breece Hall, Rashad White. That's my quarterback and my running backs. And I'm on the clock here. So let me make my 2 picks. And then I will get right back to it. And I can't, man, those stinking tight ends went off the board. So many of them. That's the problem picking at the turn is, do you reach on a tight end or do you wait until it comes all the way back around? I kind of got burned there. Right, so
Liz Ballard is asking if that's the 107's first tight end. You're up. So I'll talk. It looks like it is the 7th pick's first quarterback is Matt Ryan. And looking at the wide receivers, at least he does have that stack with Michael Pittman. Or maybe it's she. I don't know. Whoever 7 is. Oh, no. That is Billy. Billy is not taking Matt Ryan until the 13th round. Wow. I love the audacity in this draft, Billy.
He thinks he's so clever, that guy.
That Billy Muzio.
Billy Muzio. All right, let me go. All right, I'm going this route. I'm going with my guy.
We should have known it was a Billy Muzio build. He drafted Darnell Mooney.
Oh, of course. Because he saw some video of Darnell Mooney mossing a bunch of 8th graders on Twitter. He loves them. But anyway, so I went Herbert at quarterback, Barkley, Mixon, Breece Hall, Rashad White so far at running back. I went with 3 kind of anchor, 3 workhorse running backs. And then I'm going receiver by committee here. Jamison Williams, Sky Moore, Valdez Scantling. So we got the Moore Valdez Scantling stack. Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Jamison Crowder, Chase Claypool,
love
Crowder. Hayden Hurst, Zach Ertz. I don't love my tight ends. I got caught holding the bag and having to do Ertz as my number 2 tight end. I might have to pick up a 3rd because of that. But Jamison Crowder, I love because he's probably better than Cole Beasley.
Yes, he is.
The player. And Beasley was a wide receiver 2 when he was healthy with the Bills. Like Crowder is probably going to be a wide receiver 2. Low end or wide receiver 3. I know that's crazy to talk about, but like in the 14th round, he's not going to have against best ball. He's not going to have those spike weeks really, but he's going to have weeks where where he has 8 catches for 64 yards. He's going to have a lot of those. Not a lot.
8 for 64 and maybe the occasional touchdown.
So I have him everywhere. I like stacking him with Gabe Davis and or who else was I stacking him with? Or like a Dawson Knox. Like you don't have to get every single piece, but if you can get like 2 of the 4, if you go like Diggs and Crowder, because I don't like taking every piece to an offense. Because again, if they get in a game where like it's a snowball or something, you get nothing. But if you can get 2 cheap pieces like Crowder and Knox or Crowder and Gabe Davis or Diggs and Crowder, I really like that.
Yeah, I'm not a Gabe Davis guy, but
I know you're not. I forgot about that.
I'm like so anti Gabe Davis. I will go to my grave. I don't care if Gabe Davis goes off for another 5 touchdown game. I will still be.
Here's my Gabe Davis take is because now the draft's over. They didn't do anything in the draft. They took Shakir in the 5th round. Right. They brought in Jamison Crowder. We just talked about Jamison Crowder. So I'm a Bills guy. He trusts him. Josh Allen, when you have an all-world quarterback that trusts you, it was in 2 years ago in the playoffs, it was Gabe Davis that won that game against the Colts. The game against Kansas City, Gabe Davis went out for 4 touchdowns. I don't know the analytics and the separation on his routes. I don't care about that. I just know that he's going into his 3rd year. He's getting better. Josh Allen's an all-world quarterback. Josh Allen trusts him. He loves him. The team's talking him up. They didn't draft a guy. They didn't sign a big name guy. I just think that all the signs point to him being a wide receiver, a low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I just can't get in on it. The target share isn't there. The spike weeks have been like he couldn't beat out a 34, 35-year-old Dusty Emmanuel Sanders.
Well, I don't think so. Let me just give you a little. I don't think the Bills knew what they had. So they sent Emmanuel Sanders last offseason. That was Gabe Davis's coming off of his rookie year. I don't think they knew what they had in Gabe Davis yet. Gabe Davis, he didn't get a lot of run. I will totally admit to that. He didn't get a lot of run. But when push came to shove at the end of the year, man, Gabe was the guy. He was the guy making the big plays in the playoffs. Sanders is gone.
That was the
Hughes was
Tyrann
gone.
Mathieu game, though. Tyrann Mathieu
I know.
left with an
Left the
injury,
game.
and that's why I think the Bills were heavily targeting Davis, because that was the matchup, and Mathieu was playing pretty well against Davis up until that point.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but I just think that I want to buy players that are rising. Let me see where his ADP is. Let me see who's going. He's going
Gabe Davis is wide receiver 23 in this draft. Give me Brandon Cooks over him. Give me Rashad Bateman over him. Like, those are two very obvious players.
I would like to see where he's going. Yeah, so he goes at the 6'4". Bateman, I could see, yes. Mooney, nah. See, I wouldn't take Bateman or Mooney or Elijah. I'm sorry, I would take Bateman over Gabe. I wouldn't take Mooney, Elijah Moore, Michael Thomas. I'm on Ross.
I would take Elijah Moore over Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Josh Allen over Zach Wilson thing. And the other thing, too, is that I think a lot, especially in these best balls, players also get drafted a little bit higher, I think, because people want to get those stacks. So they're willing to, like that. You'll rarely see Gabe Davis fall a ton because whoever's got Diggs,
Josh Allen, it's the offense, is the Buffalo offense.
That's right. So I think he gets pushed up in these best balls because of that too.
That's fair. That is fair. Now we're starting to get into, we've already gotten into handcuff season, but like Darrell Williams and Darrell Henderson going off. I love those picks from whoever that was. I can't tell based on how the draft was, but there are still a few other handcuffs out there that are interesting, I think.
Totally agree. I'm probably going to have to draft some of them. I think I've only got a four running backs here. Yeah, I got to start thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm at 4 running backs as well.
Doing something here.
I've got a 2, 4, 6, 2 build right now.
I was just about to ask you. I was going to wait till you got done picking before I asked you, but do you have like a preferred build in these? I know it differs on site and stuff like that, but I didn't know if you had a preferred build in this FFPC format.
I'm at a crossroads here because Zach Wilson is just hanging out for me. And I've got Corey Davis and I've got Elijah Moore. And if the Jets do take a step forward, oh boy. And the Jets, who do they play? Week 17. The Jets face the Jets get the Seattle Seahawks week 17.
That's right. But hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You can't assume the Seahawks defense is going to be bad, even though they got rid of everybody.
Wait, we can't assume that?
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay. Zach Wilson is the pick, and I'm done with quarterback. That's going to be my 3 quarterbacks. In the 18 round underdog drafts, I'll probably only take 2.
Yeah.
I'm typically only taking 2. But with the heavy correlation that I have here with the Jets and the Dolphins and some of the Kansas City, I took 3.
Yes.
And I'm sticking with that. So I'll figure out the rest of my positions. But do players typically get 3 tight ends in this? I can't imagine getting more than that, but
yeah, no, I think 3 is probably, especially with the tight end premium. If one pops, he's going to start for you in your flex.
But I've got Kelsey, so what's the point? And I've got Gesicki. I've got 2 poppers essentially.
Yeah, 2 poppers. That's right. That's right. You certainly don't have to. If you were going to pick between 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends, I definitely would have leaned towards the 3 quarterbacks because of you having Kelsey for sure.
And so I'll just fill in the gaps with running backs and wide receivers. I probably do need 1 or 2 more running backs here.
But it's interesting too. It's cool that you built around. They didn't build around, but you ended up with a big Dolphin stack, with a big Jet stack, and be able to get the quarterbacks to kind of. It stinks when you go ahead and do something like that, and then the quarterback gets sniped in front of you in the 14th.
Right. Dang
God, really? Like, why would you take a naked Zach Wilson? What are you doing? So I just think that's that's a kind of a safe way to get those stacks is by taking talented receivers that have maybe crappy quarterbacks, but they're easy to stack.
And if one goes off, boom, I'm all set.
Exactly.
So we'll see here. How do you feel about your build? Right now, we're almost done with 15 rounds.
Yeah, I like the way it's gone so far. I kind of got blocked at a tight end there. I really wanted.
You should have let me have MVS.
That was the thing too. Like I didn't realize how much I had an ADP. I took him, But I like again, that's the Gabe Davis argument. MVS, you don't have him ranked maybe that high, but when you put him with Sky Moore, or when you put him with Juju, now it just makes him more valuable. But I really wanted Gerald Everett, but it was so far ahead of ADP to go for my Chargers, and then he ended up getting taken like a round later. So yeah, we'll see. But here I'm gonna go Goff to get my second QB. I really like the weapons Goff has there, and I have one of them in Jameson Williams. So I'm going to go Goff there. And then I need a running back. Tell me what you think about a guy by the name of Hassan Haskins. Talk to me about him. You're a big dynasty guy.
Hassan Haskins has gotten a little bit of love at Tennessee. I'm about 25 minutes outside of Ann Arbor, and Haskins was the running back at Michigan.
Yeah.
And he was a 2-down thumper, pretty solid runner, not super explosive, but he gets the job done. He fits like a Derrick Henry light type of player. But there's also a lot of love for Joey Chestnut out of OTAs. And is that his name?
I don't even know. I'm not a big.
Pretty sure.
Hold on a minute. Now you're gonna make me look it up.
No, he's not showing up on the FFPC, so maybe he's not draftable even. Running back Julius Chestnut. It was a J Chestnut. My bad. Hot dog eater Julius Chestnut.
Hot dog eater extraordinaire. Julius Chestnut.
But Julius Chestnut has been getting a lot of love out of OTAs for Tennessee. I think that it's a pretty open competition behind Derrick Henry after Donta Foreman left for Carolina, which is also an interesting pick. I don't know if Donta Foreman, he literally went off right now as we're talking about it. So there you go.
Yeah. So again, at this point, like I got my 3 guys. You have to in these drafts too. You're playing. This is a tournament, right? When I go Mixon, Barkley, Hall, I'm counting on them to lead me to the promised land.
Just smashing.
If they don't smash, I'm not going to win. So I don't need to take 7 running backs hoping to back them up. I'm going to take 5 or 6. And if my big 3 do really well, I won't even need number 4, 5, and 6. So I'm just taking a shot in the dark on a guy like Rachaad White, who could have some standalone value, but if Fournette goes down, I think Rachaad White could be a piece. But again, I'm counting on my big 3 running backs to kind of hold their own.
All right, I'm going to need your opinion on a running back. I'm going to select, unless I get sniped here, because this is, I think, one of the sneakiest PPR backs in the entire draft, and I can't believe he's going to come to me. I think, given the division that this team is in and the need for offensive weapons for this team to compete, I think Kenyon Drake as the pass-catching running back out of Vegas is the most undervalued. I wouldn't even call him a handcuff because we're getting him in the 16th round. They're going to have to be – I think the Raiders are the worst team in their division. They're going to have to be passing to catch up. Josh Jacobs is only good when they're ahead. And we saw Kenyon Drake have a 10%, 12% target share even last year. They cut Jalen Richard. There's no other pass. Zamir White had a 4% target share at Georgia. He's not used as a pass catcher. Josh Jacobs is not used as a pass catcher. Kenyon Drake may take on like a James White role for Vegas.
That would be interesting. I haven't heard that James White comparison yet, but no, I get it because of the coaching staff and all that. But that would be
Talk to me about Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, no, that would be an interesting if he does. Josh Jacobs, I feel like, is a good pass catcher. It scares me for Kenyon Drake having another back there like Zamir White, and I always try to be careful too with catch rate in college and all that. If you show me video or show me like a drop rate or something, because that was the whole thing. Like AJ Dillon doesn't catch passes. Well, they don't throw him the ball. That's why he doesn't catch passes. Doesn't mean he can't catch passes. So Zamir, I don't think they brought in Zamir White to be a pass catching back. Don't get me wrong.
No, but I think he's going to be the 1-2 thumper in 2023.
Could be, absolutely. That's probably true. But I think Josh Jacobs is more than capable to be the pass catching back also. But that's not really the New England way. They like to have that pass catching running back there. Kenyon Drake, that would be super interesting and something that I haven't really thought too much about yet, but certainly a sleeper there in the 16th round.
We just saw Zamir White go off. That's Look, I like Zamir White for Dynasty. Billy's been talking me into Zamir White more and more, but from a Dynasty perspective, so I was able to get a couple pieces of Zamir White in these rookie drafts, but we'll see. I'm going to get a little game correlation, hopefully, with this next pick. Hopefully I'm not sniped by Dog Z. And I will get this game correlation with KJ Hamler.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I've got Sutton and Hamler. So I've got some Denver going.
Yep. Excellent. Hopefully Hamler, again, a guy that, like, can he get it going? You know what I mean? Like, he's finally got the great quarterback there, the great deep ball thrower, and Russell Wilson. He might be buried, but again, it
takes is one Jerry Jeudy groin injury, right?
Right. That's right. Or Cortland Sutton injury. That's right. That's right. And that's a bet on talent right there. I certainly don't.
He's a second-round pick. He tore his ACL last year. He's a full year removed. He also came out after the Russell Wilson trade and said, "I want to be his Tyler Lockett."
I want to be his Tyler Lockett. I like it. Too bad that's Jerry Jeudy, but I get it. So I'm just looking over some of the teams here in this room to see which one, other than our own, that we like.
Are there any teams that are sticking out to you that you really like or you have questions about?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. No, just so generally in best ball when I do it, I'm looking like who took running backs early, because that's kind of the build that I like to do in best ball. So I see Louis did running backs early, did a tight end. I'm not a huge Kittle guy this year. I'm definitely not a huge Waddle guy, but at wide receiver 16, you could do worse. But then he went crazy on receiver, which is exactly what you want to do there. I think he maybe took too many running backs. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 backs. Interesting. Derrick Henry, Delvin Cook, ETN. I like that. Maybe I wouldn't have gone Melvin Gordon in the 10th, but I like that too. Is that Billy that went
0 quarterback,
0 RB and 0 quarterback?
Yup.
It sure is.
That dog.
But you know what? CeeDee Lamb, am I on the clock? No. CeeDee Lamb kind of ends that tier for me. So I think he did well there. He got Jamar Chase, who's in the top tier receivers. And then I think he got the second tier, ends with CeeDee Lamb. So I think he did well to get Lamb there. And I'm a huge Michael Pittman guy. It sucks again that he keeps moving up and he keeps moving up. Having to get him wide receiver 12 kind of stinks. But
it's so expensive.
I know.
Like looking at the tier, like I took Tyreek Hill, but like the only other option for me there was AJ Brown, because that's a tier drop from Brown and Hill to Michael Pittman.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. So I think that's where tier-based drafting comes into effect. I think it's a really smart thing to do. And I think that's why he probably went with CeeDee Lamb there. I really like Lamb this year. And everybody does. That's why he's a top 6 kind of receiver taken. And Louis thinking Snipe Man Beckham too, huh? That was the guy we're going to take. But I'm going to go Uzoma, because I need another tight end in the worst way. I'm going to go Uzoma there. And then I'm going to go... Let me get your thoughts on this guy here. I'm wondering if maybe... Oh, I could go that route, though. Ooh, woo!
Spicy, show me. The spiciness, Adam.
Maybe I'll do it. Just to stay on form here. Just to stay on form. Do a little Justin
Ross.
Okay.
I love it.
Oh, if Juju goes down, Sky Moore, Valdez Scantling, Justin Ross, love every... And Travis Kelce will catch 190 balls.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even know if Ross will make the team, but he was a second-round talent.
There were talks of him being even a first-round talent, like Justin Ross.
I know. It's Clemson. It's back injury. If his back injury is fine, we'll see.
I was hoping that. Oh, maybe I'll go some game correlation. I was hoping that Justin Ross would have landed on the Jacksonville Jaguars,
where he could just win out straight out on.
Well, and the connection with Lawrence too. And
oh yeah.
Like I was hoping and praying. So I was actually very heavy pre-draft on Justin Ross in the big board draft. I had a lot of Justin Ross.
Yep.
Stacked with Trevor Lawrence.
Oh no. Listen, that's why you're doing those drafts, though. You're doing those drafts pre-NFL draft, the hope that you nail the stack. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
Lesson learned, or maybe not. Just
right.
keep trying and.
That's what they're there for. I'm looking at my roster because I saw that Jack mentioned there's only a second draft of the year, and he took Josh Allen and Cousins with the same bye week. So now I'm looking at my bye weeks because I generally
I haven't even checked those bye weeks.
I've got Mike Williams, Justin Ross, Sky Moore, Valdez Scantling, all with the same bye week. So I need Crowder, Godwin, and Jamison Williams and Chase Claypool to do their thing week 8.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with a game correlation. Kendrick Bourne.
Ooh, Shope loves Bourne, I think.
Kendrick Bourne as the wide receiver 3, I think, for the New England Patriots, because he'll play behind Devontae Parker, he'll play behind Jacoby Myers, but Bourne has more of the spike week in him than Jacoby Myers.
For sure, yeah. That's what you're looking for, mostly in these best balls, but the spike week stuff for these late round guys, absolutely is what you're looking for. And again, they play the Dolphins. Now that I'm looking at week 17, the Dolphins are probably going to have a really good secondary. They might have the best. I think they might have. I'll have to go back and look. But I think they got 2 really good corners.
They got a really good slot corner, I think, too.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting game. But again, it's the
week
Dolphins.
17. Maybe someone's hurt. Who knows?
Who knows exactly? So yeah, we'll see. But no, of course, that's what you're looking for here. And was he the one on the Patriots last year that had? I think of the right receiver. Was that Myers? That had all those catches without a touchdown, like in his career.
Oh, that was Myers. That was Myers a couple years ago. He did. Jacoby Myers did catch some touchdowns last year.
Finally.
In fact, at one point, he had more passing touchdowns than he had receiving touchdowns.
Yes, I remember that. That's funny.
Yeah, Jack, just to bring it back to Adam's comment, Jack was talking about the bye weeks, and both Adam and I escaped the bye week apocalypse. Week 9 is pretty brutal. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a couple. Week 13 or 14, whatever that week is. There's
Green Bay and Indy are on bye weeks. Week 14,
just brutal.
Yeah,
I don't know why they do them that late, and so many of them too. Like I said, week 13 or 14.
It's travel optimization. It's mostly having to do with travel optimization and balancing. Like there are certain criteria that it needs to be met, but yeah, getting those bye weeks, and you have to have a bye week. I think this is the first year they've not had a bye week after a travel to a London game.
Okay.
But in previous years, that was the case. Scheduling is a whole thing. Like I'm pretty sure ESPN put an article out a couple weeks ago about how the NFL was literally asking university professors and students to run optimizations to do this. And this is completely different than a couple years ago. The Major League Baseball, who has 162 games per team, they had literally a husband and wife scheduling each team by hand.
No.
Yes. Look it up. Really?
Oh my God. Baseball. What are you doing? What are you doing? They have an app for that, guys. There's an app for that. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Betty and Billy's Scheduling Shack.
Bradley and Billy's Schedule Shack. I like it.
I took Cedric Wilson here, finished out my Miami wide receivers. Look, Cedric Wilson, here's a fun fact, Adam. There are only like 7 or 8 wide receivers over the last 2 seasons who have increased their rate of scoring 24.7 fantasy points or more each of the last 2 seasons. One of those players is Cedric Wilson.
Who's the other one?
Hold on. I'll have to look. There are only a few of them, but I actually put out this tweet. So give me a moment. I'll look it up. But it's mind blowing that like Cedric Wilson is included in a list of, I think it's like AJ Brown, Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson. Those are the players who have improved their upside over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I was big on Cedric Wilson as a pickup when who went down week 1 last year? Was it Gallup?
Yeah.
I really liked him as a pickup because I think he had a pretty good game after Gallup went down or something to that effect. And I don't know, it's been so long ago already. And he just never became a thing. But I like his talent, and he's still young. Maybe he can be a thing.
Okay, so here it is. Here it is. I found it, Adam.
Love
This
it.
is the exhaustive list of players who increased their rate of scoring 24.7 full PPR fantasy points each of the last 2 seasons. So 2019 to 2020, and then 2020 to 21. So they improved each of those years. Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams, AJ Brown, Russell Gage, Terry McLaurin, Cedric Wilson. That's
Oh,
it.
lock him in.
Oh, baby. Give me all. And imagine
Lock
if
him in.
Waddle or Tyreek Hill gets hurt. It's Cedric Wilson season, baby.
Cedric Wilson season. Oh, I love it. I love that. For sure. All right, let me ask you. Oh, you still got one pick left. But I'll ask you.
It's fine.
Who do you like better? I'm gonna let you make this pick for me because I trust you.
Oh, gosh.
Who do you
That's
like
a
better?
dangerous thing.
Snoop Connor or Tyler Beatty?
Snoop.
All right, taking Snoop.
I just drafted Snoop in a dynasty league today.
I like it. And then my last pick, I'm gonna go with a little Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, get your Buffalo.
That's right.
Get your Buffalo boys.
Jamison Crowder, Khalil Shakir, best ball. I could have gone Tyler Beatty also because I really do Tyler Beatty. I think he's.
Oh, his player profiler comp is Giovanni Bernard.
I'll take it. I think that they really want to establish the run there in Baltimore. I just think his college tape was really good. I got some tape expert, but I just feel like he just looked really good, and I didn't think he was going to get the draft capital or whatever, but to have him go to a run heavy team made me happy.
Yeah, I think that Tyler Beatty is one of those players that I was higher on pre-draft, and then him going to Baltimore, I think, stifled a little bit for.
Okay, so you didn't like the landing spot then?
I didn't like the landing spot
because he's a kind of a pass catcher. You're saying, and they don't really throw to the running back.
Yeah, the Lamar Jackson. There are so many studies that support the decrease of running back target share to mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Will Beatty carve out a role? I think that's realistic. But this is why he may be a better dynasty play than like these best ball tournaments. We don't know what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. He has not yet signed an extension. And this is my bold call is I think Joe Burrow signs an extension before Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. People in the Cincinnati, he's the cool guy, right? But Lamar, so what's interesting about Lamar is
Lamar may hit the market.
Nah, that would blow my mind. You thought that Deshaun Watson got paid.
Lamar Jackson's going to get paid on the market.
Honestly, he should try to hit the market. He doesn't want to be known as this run first quarterback, but he's in this offense that just makes him hand the ball off and run and doesn't give him any weapons and all that type of stuff. I think it'd behoove him to get out of there. But as far as Beatty's concerned, like, I don't even need him to cover out a role. Like, does he have a hand? Is he a handcuff? Like, is he as good as Gus Edwards? I know they love Gus Edwards.
But both Dobbins and Edwards are coming off these ACL tears. Dobbins isn't even running right now. He's just catching passes out of Jug's machine. That's worrisome. And then they go out and they sign Mike Davis.
I'm wondering if they're not even going to I've heard like McCaffrey, they're talking about like they're not even going to let McCaffrey do anything until like week 1. which is perfect, which is great.
Hey, fine. Good.
That's what I want to hear. I wonder if teams are going to start doing that because they had such bad luck. The Ravens did last year with the injuries. They're not going to let Dobbins or Gus do anything. Like we know you guys know how to run the ball. We don't need to hand you the ball off one time. Who knows? Beatty might just be camp legs for all I know. You know what I mean? But I really like this college tape.
I liked him too.
And I took Snoop Connor. We didn't even talk about the guy I took.
Snoop Dogg. Look, I almost took. It was between Kyron Williams in this last round and Armstead.
Ooh, there you go.
So we can talk about the Jacksonville backfield. I think James Robinson is also overvalued. Like he's being overdrafted. He tore his Achilles. He's going to be back at the earliest mid-November, almost December. Like by that time, it's going to be Snoop Connor or Raekwon Armstead playing behind Travis Etienne. But if anything happens to Etienne, like it could be one of those two.
I know. No, I like Snoop. I like Snoop. I usually take him and or Beatty with a couple of my last picks here. All right, sir. How'd we do?
All right. Let's take a look at the rosters construction here. View the draft board. You started out with 3 running backs, just to recap: Mixon, Barkley, Hall. And then you went Williams, Godwin, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So your wide receiver 2 is probably going to be Sky Moore. How do you feel about that?
I don't. You mean because you think Godwin's not going to play right away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with my wide receiver 2 being Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Like here's the way I try to look at stuff like this, and this could be way wrong, but I've had some success doing the best ball stuff. And I feel like if someone said to you, hey, listen, you can trade, and this might be a bad example. I'm just using this as an example, but
Sure.
You could trade your 8th, because I took Valdes-Scantling a little bit early, but hey, you could trade your 8th and 9th round pick for a locked in wide receiver 2 every week. Would you do it? Like, I think I would do it. Like, Sky Moore, Valdes-Scantling is going to be a wide receiver 2 every single week. The way that I'm drafting this team. Again,
hopefully by the end of the year. I don't know if Sky Moore is going to be getting the snaps like week 1 or week 2 is maybe my concern.
Sure.
But Claypool might be the play there.
So I generally like to go running back early and then just pound receivers and just let it play out. Jamison Crowder might be my wide receiver 2 every single, again, because I think he can. Jameson Williams, who knows with him. I like to take shots on receiving groups in good offenses that I think one of those guys every week is going to be a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 and hold me over. Because really if I win, what's going to win me the league is going to be Mixon, Barkley, and Hall being awesome.
Yeah, no, I like those are 3. And here's the thing too, is you're not starting 1 flex, you're starting 2 flexes. And so you can afford to take a little bit more of the robust running back strategy into account. Whereas like an underdog, you got to start 3 wide receivers. You only have 1 flex spot. So in this league, it makes more sense. Yeah, at least it's more reasonable for you to take that strategy. I think the FFPC allows a lot more of those strategies to like work, because you've got the tight end premium, you've got 2 flex plays, you've only got 2 wide receivers.
For sure.
Okay, let's look at the rest of your draft here. So you went after Godwin, Herbert, Zach Ertz, Sky Moore, MVS, Claypool. How'd you feel about getting Zach Ertz at tight end 10?
I like Ertz a lot. I think Ertz could be tight end. I could see him being tight end 6. I think he's got a great rapport there. And especially with Hopkins being out for 6 weeks, I think Ertz could be really good. And then I think he's got a pretty good. I'm trying to look at his last game. He's got the Falcons the last week of the year. I don't hate that matchup either. So I really like Ertz.
Okay. And let's see here. Rachaad White, I like that as one of the handcuff snipes. I'm upset that you take Rachaad White. But look, the reality is for these tournaments, I think the better play, you don't take handcuffs for your running backs. You take other people's handcuffs.
Yeah. And for tournaments, I get it. I'll take my handcuffs. I'll take your handcuffs. I'll take whatever kind of fits the build. In this build, with me counting so heavily Mixon, Barkley, Hall, I wasn't going to handcuff them, because if they go down, I'm in big and there isn't really a handcuff for them. I mean, I could have gone Michael Carter, but again, I would rather go Rachaad White, because he's a pass-catching running back that if Fournette goes down, he could get all of it. So, and that's kind of why I know you haven't gotten there yet, but that's kind of why I like Haskins is in the same kind of mold as Derrick Henry.
Right.
If Derrick Henry goes down, then Haskins,
which we saw last year. Yeah, we saw that role be very valuable. For sure.
Yeah, so I like handcuff backs that are the same style or the same thing as what the team is looking for. That can fill that full role.
One of the commenters, Liz Ballard, commented, if Hurst gets vacated Uzama targets, he's a steal. I think I agree with Liz here. The reality is Hayden Hurst steps into what we've seen, a real spike week offense.
Yeah.
The Bengals may not be consistent, but they will spike. And when they spike high.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Again, he wasn't my first choice. I mean, I got him at 10 and 25. I can't say that I was really targeting him, but once it gets down to the end there, he's kind of the guy. Usually if I take a third, he's like my third, but like I said, again, I passed on one at the 9-10, and once it went, Awabadum, Gesicki, Komet, Irv, and then Henry, all those guys went between my 2 picks. So
I think my favorite pick of the entire draft was Jamison Crowder, and they're in the 14th. What was that? The 14th round? 14th round. My favorite pick.
Yeah, thanks. And I love seeing the numbers next to these guys. Like wide receiver 61. There is no way. There is absolutely
He's going to return
zero.
value.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance that if Crowder stays normally healthy, like has a healthy season, that he doesn't crush that ADP.
Oh yeah, give me all the Crowder.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the Crowder.
Oh yeah,
Clam Crowder.
That's right, Clam.
You went Goff to work on your stacks, which is fine. Hassan Haskins, we know that role. Uzama is interesting for the Jets. I think Justin Ross fits with that Kansas City build. Snoop Connor as well. He could carve out a pretty significant role. The Jacksonville Jaguars did trade up to select Snoop Connor and Khalil Shakir as well for Buffalo to round out your last round.
Yeah, this could be. I'm trying to get better. One of the things I'm trying to work on this year in the best ball is not taking so many zeros. And this team might be a bad example of that. Like Haskins. The problem is it's early. It's June, right? So there's no camp updates. There's no nothing.
It's June 7th, Adam.
Right.
I mean, what do we know?
We could look back here and be like Haskins, Ross, Snoop, Shakir could all be zeros.
It could be Chestnut.
Right. It could be Joey Chestnut. That's right.
Hot dog extraordinaire.
But yeah, go through your team.
Yeah, so I started with Travis Kelce. At the beginning of the stream, I gave my reasons why Kelce, just such a positional advantage and in tight end premium that is exponentially greater. Fournette, it was decision between Fournette and Aaron Jones. I went Fournette because of the higher ADP. Just that was the deciding factor because I think Aaron Jones is going to get more passes, but Fournette maybe gets the more goal line work. Tampa Bay's going to probably be scoring more often, and they're a faster paced team, run more plays. So lean Fournette there, but it's close between Jones and Fournette. Came back around and looking at who else was still there, I wasn't willing to take James. AJ Brown was the only other wide receiver consideration. I wasn't willing to take Josh Allen, given that I had taken Travis Kelce, and I wanted Patrick Mahomes. So looking through that, it makes sense ADP wise to take Mahomes there in the 4th round. And then coming back around, the Cortland Sutton pick to get that Denver, Kansas City week 17 game will be big for me. I think I'm very bullish on Cortland Sutton this year. I know you're more of a Judy guy. I get it. Coke and Pepsi, but we'll find out that Pepsi is the superior one by the end of the season. But at wide receiver 21, I'm cool with getting Cortland Sutton because he's shown his spike weeks before, even with bad quarterback play, and now enter Russell Wilson. So mostly motivated by that week 17 matchup, but also because I'm bullish on him. Also looking at the only other wide receiver, if Sutton wasn't there for me, I'm looking at Brandon Cooks as the only other wide receiver I would have considered at that spot.
Yeah, I like Cooks. I probably would have taken Cooks. But again, you're trying to build stacks, you're trying to build game correlations and stuff.
Right.
That's why it's so much different. These drafts are so much different than the drafts you're going to do in maybe a high stakes solo league in 2 months. It's just different.
And then AJ Dillon at running back 25. He was a top 25 running back last year.
Right.
Who says he's not going to do it again? And then that's the appropriate value for him. Plus, there's the handcuff upside. He's the most valuable handcuff, I think, in the NFL.
Yes, I don't disagree with you there. I also like we talked about earlier, I like Pollard as well. Where did Pollard end up going? We did all that. He went in the 7th. See,
but that was expensive. That's
those guys expensive. Are both. Dillon's ADP's in the 6th. Pollard is in the 8th. But it's this is where we are, where we're taking Pollard.
I also don't mind Kareem Hunt because either he gets cut or he doesn't. But over the last year, Kareem Hunt had a higher 23 PPR fantasy point rate than Nick Chubb.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Kareem Hunt's awesome. Kareem Hunt is I wish he would go somewhere else. So I wish the Bills would get him, for gosh sakes. He'd be the.
Maybe I should have taken Kareem Hunt instead of Christian Kirk.
You didn't have the option.
Oh, I didn't. Actually, he went off. You're right. Because I got sniped on Tyler Lockett.
That's right. Crushed on Lockett.
I love Tyler Lockett. I smash all the time at wide receiver 38, wide receiver 40, He's wide receiver 42 on Underdog, and he went wide receiver 44 in this draft.
I know. It's wild.
So I went Chase. This is where I went a little bit of Miami love. Edmonds, Gesicki, Tagovailoa back to back. Then Kenneth Gain with Jahan Dotson at wide receiver 60, I felt was a good value. Corey Davis at 66.
Yeah, I know Matt Schauf over at DraftSharks.com is a big Corey Davis guy for sure. Like, he would rather have Corey Davis at 66 than Elijah Moore at 34.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but
I know, and I could be misspeaking, but I know he's a big Corey Davis guy when it comes to taking Jets receivers at ADP.
Matt, I hope you like this draft. I took then Zach Wilson to firm up because I have Elijah Moore and Corey Davis and Zach Wilson.
Oh yeah, get them all.
Kenyon Drake, we talked about that. KJ Hamler's the new Tyler Lockett.
That's right.
Kendrick Bourne for the game correlation. Cedric Wilson for my Miami. And then Kyron Williams. Now, hear me out. Let's say Cam Akers is not 100%. Darrell Henderson has always had issues with his ankles. Kyron Williams can catch passes. And he was a workhorse back at Notre Dame. A Notre Dame homer right here. I got my graduate degree from the Golden Dome. So I get it. Yeah, so I get it.
Listen, that's all I had to say. You're a Golden Domer. Kyron Williams is your guy. Hold on a minute. You're a big dynasty guy. Kyron did not have a good combine. He didn't have a good pro day. But you could be right.
But here's the thing. He's on the Rams. And Sean McVay, if he drafts players, he drafts them for a purpose. Like, he drafted Ben Skoranek last year, and Skoranek was playing meaningful snaps in the Super Bowl.
That's a good point.
If you are drafted by Sean McVay, he has a plan for you. And you call McVay a fake sharp all you want, but Kyron Williams is probably going to get some run throughout the season.
Listen, it's I like taking guys like Darrell Henderson, Kyron Williams, because they're handcuffs that when they play, like they're either all in or they're all out. So if there's an injury, the next man up is getting the full workload. It's the Tony Pollard, It's the Alexander Madison, it's the AJ Dillon. You want the guys that are going to go in there and get that full work. It's maybe the Rashad White. The guys are going to get the full complement of everything. Not okay. Like if Jonathan Taylor goes down, no one's going in there and getting the full complement workload.
Nyheim Hines plus.
Yeah, and Nyheim Hines is a different back for a different build. Like Nyheim Hines might be a 0 RB build where like, oh hey, listen, my number 2 running back, I need 11, 12 10 points from. Every single week, and he's going to get me 4 or 5 catches.
Now listen to this. You were talking about Darrell Henderson being the perfect. I pulled up my running back win rates in full PPR from last year. These are your top ones. So, of course, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, 77% of the time getting at least 15.5 fantasy points. Najee Harris, 3rd. Kamara, 4th. McCaffrey, 5th. Henry, 6th. Fournette, 7th. DeAndre Swift, 8th. Darrell Henderson, 9th.
Boom. There it is.
50.3% of the time, Darrell Henderson, when he played, he was getting 15.5 PPR points, where it's not about the player, it's about the offense. And so, like, he's ahead of Dalvin Cook. He's ahead of Zeke Elliott, ahead of Joe Mixon, ahead of Nick Chubb, ahead of Antonio Gibson, James Conner, Elijah Mitchell, the Aaron Jones, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Like, that is the offense that you want if you're taking a handcuff.
Yeah.
And that's why Kyron Williams. So there was my 2 minutes about Williams.
I like it.
Awesome. Adam, this has been great. I appreciate you spent 2 hours on here. I know we were talking earlier.
It flew. It didn't. I just looked like, oh my God, it's 12:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. I've got to teach some children tomorroh.
That's
today.
right.
I got to teach children today.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you drafting, talking best ball with me. And so you do work for Draft Sharks. You got your Deep End podcast. Where else can we find your work?
Yeah, so I do most of my stuff's on DraftSharks.com. I do a bunch of like more high stakes articles and stuff like that, and then show up and I do a weekly. We go 2 times a week. We go Tuesdays and Thursday nights at the Deep End FF1 on Twitter, and you can find us there. You can find us on Draft Sharks Fantasy YouTube channel. and we do a regular, more geared toward best ball this time of year on Tuesdays, and a dynasty on Thursdays. And yeah, I'm just thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to see you in Canton
It's going to
for
be
sure.
a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I'm going to be drafting again, only a little lower stakes here, Adam. I'm going to draft with Felix Castro on DraftKings in their 1 million to first place best ball tournament. Felix was a previous winner of the best ball Millie, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking with him as well. That's going to be episode 21 for our viewers. Thank you for tuning in to episode 20. If you like all of the content, make sure you're giving a subscribe and like on the YouTube channel, Best Bell Fantasy Football. You can find me there. You can also follow me on Twitter at Evastalder. Make sure you're giving the 5-star ratings on the Apple Podcasts and the Spotify's. It makes me be able to pump out this content for free for you, and also keeps my wife happy. It's important to keep the wife happy.
That's important.
All right. Good luck, everyone, in the best ball streets. It's been a great draft. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.